Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, welcome back. It has been a little bit since I have filmed last for this channel. A while actually, since I have filmed for this channel. A few weeks since I filmed that Ant-Man review, but I am here today, Thursday, March 31st, to film 4 different videos. This one being for Saturday of this week, and next one I'm going to film for Saturday of next week. I'm filming these 4 videos and scheduling them all now because spring break just started for me, and while most of my family is staying here, I am once again going on a trip with my sister, so yeah, so I will not be able to post while I'm gone, so I am going to schedule these 4, actually 6 videos, since I'm also scheduling 2 gaming videos that have been already filmed months ago. But anyways, kind of short on time, so I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. The longest this video can be is around 40 minutes, so today I will be doing a review for one of my new favorite Disney movies, and while I don't think it's one of my all-time favorites, it's still a fantastic movie though I can't relate to everything in it because, well, I'm not Latina or anything other than American. I am an American. Uh, so, while I cannot relate to everything in it and probably can't pronounce most of the words correctly, I still think it's a really good movie that's definitely deserved its Oscar, its Academy Award that it got. And that movie is Encanto. Warning, before I begin, I am going to mispronounce words. I'm going to try and pronounce them as best as I can, but I do not speak Spanish. I think it's pronounced Encanto, but I'm trying my best. I also considered putting a Breath of the Wild background in this video with me playing at the same time, but my Switch is dead and currently charging, so I can't do that, at least not for this video. Maybe while I'm filming this, and then packing in between videos, I will be able to have this charged enough to be able to do that. And I would love it if you guys would let me know how you like that when eventually I will implement that in. Just my own personal playthrough, just randomly messing around while talking. I don't have the editing skills to do, like, anything, so that's why there's black screen here. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff to talk about for this movie. I'm basically going to go through most of the stuff that I liked about it, and maybe a couple things that I disliked about it, though there aren't a lot of things that I disliked about it. There's just a lot of little things that I noticed on my 6th time watching this thing, because I watched it for the first time on my own, once with my parents, once with my sister, who has given me permission to say her name, so my sister, Sarah, once with my brother, Palar, once with my other sister, and now once again for this video. So the 6th time watching it, you notice a lot more than the first time, and so there is a lot that I want to talk about. And I have a little bit of it written in a Google Doc when I was watching it on this computer, but most of it's written down in this notebook when I was watching it on my finally chargeable phone. Okay, so the first note that I wrote was, why did the candle give them a miracle? Also, this video will contain spoilers for the entire movie, so just warning you on that one. Okay, so, sorry, if everything goes silent, that probably means I'm getting a drink of water, which is what just happened there. Okay, so, why did the candle give them a miracle? I'm sure there are theories out there. My personal thought is probably because of Pedro's sacrifice. Potentially that gave them a miracle. It's the whole love magic thing, like in Harry Potter and stuff like that, and other things. But I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's been explained. I'm not entirely up to date on most of the stuff about this movie. I just know pretty much what I've seen in like a couple of theories. I think that was like, I haven't actually seen the video for it, but I think that was like a kind of a theory that someone had, and it kind of makes sense to me. So I think it was Super Carlin Brothers, potentially. But yeah, I don't know. That's just a question that I had, and I don't know the answer to. The next thing I had listed to talk about, the pure toxicity of. Okay, now here's one of the words that I have trouble pronouncing. Abuela? I think it's pronounced abuela. That's probably butchered. I am so sorry. To all of her children and grandchildren. Yeah, so she's very toxic, which I hear can be common, a lot. But yeah, it's bad. Like, there's some definite trauma in that family, like a lot of trauma in that family, and there's definitely a lot of mental health issues that definitely need to be addressed. Like, most of those people, most of the members of this family need to go to therapy very badly. Which we can just see from the songs. Which is one thing that I love about Mirabelle, is that she's a very empathetic person. And she seems to be able to act as kind of a therapist, even though she also definitely also needs a therapist. She kind of acts like a therapist sometimes to her siblings, especially during Luisa's songs or Isabella's song. Yeah. I actually kind of like Mirabelle overall, but yeah. But yeah, the family, with all of their overbearing responsibilities to the town, it's all quite toxic. But at least most of the townspeople, except for like a few of them, such as the guy at the beginning of the movie who gives the not special special, as he says, to Mirabelle. Yeah, he never struck me as the most supportive person to, especially Mirabelle and her not having a gift and everything. But most of the townspeople, especially like Mariano and all of those people, seem like they're pretty good people, and so I respect that. But yeah, it's a whole very toxic thing where I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm gonna try something here. Let's see, is desktop audio all the way up? It is. Let's go to Google Translate and have that say it for me. Let's go English to Spanish. Okay.
Abuela.
There you go. So,
Abuela.
Kind of passes on a lot of the trauma from her generation to future generations. And she kind of pushes these things on her children and grandchildren, which isn't a good thing in this case at all. But moving on, the next thing I have on my list is simply one name, Mirabelle. Yeah, so Mirabelle's cool. Like I said, she's very empathetic, and while she doesn't always connect very well with Isabella, she, after hearing the internal struggles that her sister has, she immediately becomes super sportive, stops trying to force this hug that she thinks will save the miracle, which it kind of does in a way. um, but yeah, even though she had this long-term feud with her sister, when she hears her sister's internal struggles and that she's not entirely perfect, she becomes a lot more empathetic. And yeah, she just seems to really know how to talk to people and to help them be better. So I like Mirabelle, honestly. She may not be my favorite protagonist of all time, but well, she's one of my favorite protagonists in Disney, at least, of all time. I mean, I love some other ones, but yeah, she's a great protagonist and someone that I could really root for, someone I could relate to, and she's just great. Yeah, I love her. And she needs therapy, just like the rest of her family. She needs therapy. The next thing on my list is yet another name, Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, but I'm gonna talk about Bruno today. Like Mirabelle and the rest of his family, he needs therapy. So I have a couple questions here. Um, First of all, so I know he lives next to the kitchen, and so we can get food. But I have a few questions. Okay, first of all, how did nobody but uh, Dolores? This is another one. This is another one. How was she the only one who hears him? I know she has like the superpower with extremely good hearing and everything, but or gift, I guess, not superpower, but it might as well be a superpower, but also like a really sucky superpower. I would not want that. Like, cannot turn off super hearing. That would suck. But yeah, how does no one else notice? Like, if he's stealing food from the kitchen, I assume that he's sending the rats in there, but I mean, I'm not entirely certain, but I assume that's what he's doing because it seems, unless like there's another one of those paintings on the wall, like the family painting is actually something that can be pushed open, then how on earth, even if it is kitchen adjacent, how. Oh, mouth sounds. Okay. Heck. Okay. how how does he get the food? Does he send the rats in there? Because it doesn't make sense for him unless that painting can push open. It wouldn't matter if it's kitchen adjacent because he can't reach through walls. So I would assume that it's probably the rats, but I don't know. Also, going to the bathroom, I'm just saying, in that cramped of a space, that would be a little interesting. And also, rats all over the place, that just sounds disgusting. I mean, I have a couple friends who have some pet rats, and I'm fine with those. I would not have them on me, ever. But, like, these don't seem to be vaccinated rats or things like that. I would not trust one of those to be around me for 2 seconds, let alone on my toothbrush. Like, goodness gracious. I am very worried for Bruno's health at this point, even though he seems to be about 50 years old or so. So he has lived for a decently long amount of time. I say he's about 50 probably because at the beginning of the movie,
Abuela.
says that it's been about 50 years since um, uh, since the miracle was given, and since the three triplets were about like basically newborns, you would guess that they're probably around 50. Um, yeah, so other than being worried about Bruno's health and his sanity just a little bit, Like, he's by himself for that long. Like, even an introvert, you guys do occasionally need to talk to people. Occasionally. Like, I'm not an introvert. I'm an ambivert. I'm not an introvert or an extrovert. Sometimes I do like to be around people. Sometimes I do need to be around people. But most of a lot of the time I like to be by myself. But sometimes I do need to be around people. But come on, man. Even introverts need to have other people occasionally, other than just rats. um, and also, there's the scene where Mirabelle is chasing after Bruno in the walls, and we have is it Peppa? I Let's look this up. I think it's Peppa, but I'm not sure. What is the name of Mirabelle's? Okay, Peppa. That's right. Okay. Also, does her dad have a name? Huh, he does. Augustine, maybe? I don't know. I don't think they ever said his name in the movie. That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, so there's a scene. Mirabelle is chasing Bruno in the walls, and Peppa is getting calmed down by my favorite character, Camilo. Um, and when it was either Mirabelle or Bruno, but I think it was Mirabelle, like crashes into the wall, and there was like a literal thump. Like, how does no one notice that? Has Bruno never done this? Because I just found that very strange. Alright, next thing I have on my list is who are these random children? I would be referring to the three random children who appear several times throughout the film, who often help give exposition, I guess, or help us to know what's going on during the story. They appear as the main children in the Family Madrigal song. Again, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. And they also make appearances at the end of the movie, when everyone's looking for Mirabelle, and also during the final song of the movie, besides the end credits song, which is, I think it's called "All of You," which is one of the worst songs in that movie. Even though I love most of the songs, that's probably the only one that I don't love out of all of them. Even the ones that I don't understand what they're saying, I still love. That is the only one in the entire one that I don't really like. In the entire movie that I really like. But that's next. That's next video. I'll be ranking all of the Encanto songs next, and then we'll get to Dragon Prince season 3. Yeah, so these children make several appearances, and I'm wondering who they are and where the heck are their parents. And the next note I have is also, why are these children so adorable? There is a moment after Antonio gets his room, and one of them says, like, it's bigger on the inside, and it was very adorable. So that's probably what I meant by that. My next note is briefly mention the music. Yeah, music in this movie. I already pretty much briefly mentioned it. Love most of it. Not a huge fan of All of You, but other than that, love the music. I have some very unpopular opinions about some of these songs, I think. I love most of them, but I think the order in which I love them may be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but we'll get there eventually. Not in today's video, though. My next note is, I would hate to be Dolores because I have very sensitive ears and get headaches often. That is very true. That would be the worst. Next I wrote, how do these kids not know that Mirabelle doesn't have a gift? Like, they've grown up in this town very obviously because no one comes from outside other than people who originally came there. So how do they not know? Wouldn't that, like, be the talk of the town? It doesn't really make sense that they don't know this. Um, Next thing I had written down to talk about was Isabella. Or Isa, or whatever. Oops, forgot to mute my mic for that one. Sorry. Yeah, she has, I think, a lot of perfectionism problems, but not really like perfectionism, but like a need to be perfect for everybody else, um, which isn't a good thing. Like, you should be yourself, not a perfect person. Nobody's perfect. You should just be yourself. That's the way of life. You should be yourself. And if you're not yourself, then you're not a genuine person, and then how will people get to know you? How will people come to love you if you're not being yourself? Even if yourself is the weirdest possible thing. I am a very weird person, but at least I'm generally myself, at least around the people that I know. I love to talk about books, I love to talk about movies, I love to play video games and rant about video games for hours on end. I love to watch TV, I love to do all sorts of things, and I love to go on lots of tangents. And I do that. And not everybody hates me. I'm sure some people do, but not everybody does. So just be yourself. That's the important thing. But Isa doesn't really seem to be herself. She wants to be. She is a unique person. She's not Little Miss Perfect, I guess, is the way to put it. And while she seems like it's on the inside, she has a lot of problems of her own, and she seems to do better when she says what her problems are, and she talks to Mirabelle about it, and gets a little bit of help, I think. Gets a little bit of the weight that's on her shoulders lifted off. Next I have one that last line might apply to even more, Louisa. Throughout the movie, she's seen having the entire town rely upon her gift of pretty much super strength slash super durability potentially, because the beginning of surface pressure, she literally has a rock break against her back. So super durability, maybe. Who knows? She may be invincible. Unclear. But yeah, she has a lot of pressure building up for her, um, which is probably why her song is called Surface Pressure. Not only is she super strong and having the entire town rely upon her gift as one of the most useful ones in their eyes, and as well as
Abuela.
eyes. Um, what's annoying about Google Translate is that the second time it shows it, it says it very slowly. But yeah. So yeah, Lisa has a lot of pressure on her, not only from that, but also she appears to be the oldest sister. Um, and while I am the youngest in my family, I'm sure that it's a difficult thing to be an oldest sibling. I know from my oldest sister that there are struggles with being the oldest sibling. Even one of my best friends, who I don't divulge the name of on this channel, she's not the oldest sibling, but she's the second oldest sibling, and she tells me all these stories about how difficult it can be. And yeah, it can also be difficult to be the youngest. I would know since I'm the youngest. I don't know if it's as difficult for everybody as being the oldest, and I know there's also difficulties of being a middle child. I don't like the stereotype that young siblings always have the easiest, because we don't always have it the easiest. But yeah, and well, also my sister isn't the oldest sibling, but she's the oldest sister, which Lisa is also the oldest sister. and so happens to also be the oldest sibling. But, or at least that's what it seems like from her song. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So she has a lot of pressure on her, and she seems to have it lifted a lot more by the end of the film, which is good. My next note was everyone in this town is a freaking jerk for most of the movie, to Mirabelle at least. I would revise that comment to a lot of the people in the town, especially like that one guy who gives her the not special, and also,
Abuela.
so yeah. My next note is Camilo is my favorite, which is true. He is the sweetest thing ever, and I love him. Anyways, moving on. And my last note for the Google Doc was I actually love Mirabelle's parents a lot. So, unlike
Abuela.
Mirabelle's parents are super supportive. They want to see Mirabelle and their other daughters grow and become better. They're actually good parents, which I love. And I think that especially Mirabelle and her mom have a very healthy relationship, and it's good. It's a good relationship, and I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, moving on to the notebook. So I wrote a lot about one thing in here, and that is the imagery with the animation of Mirabelle, at least through most of the movie. Half of her face, or a lot of her face, is covered in shadow, suggesting that she may be an outcast because a lot of her family's faces are lit up brightly. So it suggests that she could be an outcast, that she's feeling left out, that she feels less important and less in the spotlight than the rest of her family. And as we see in this movie, not being in the spotlight isn't always the greatest thing, but it still shows that she feels like an outcast, and she kind of is, especially to
Abuela.
So yeah. The next thing I wrote was animation is so good, I can see the individual hairs on Luisa's arms and neck. That was really cool, actually. Like, the animation has gotten so much better over the years. The animation in this movie was phenomenal, and I absolutely loved it. So, yeah. Okay. Next thing I wrote was representation of pressure in surface pressure. Yeah, there was a lot of representation of areas, like things that are pressure. There's a scene where she's holding on to a cliff, which is a pressure-filled situation because if you're hanging on the side of a cliff, it's gonna have pressure. What seems to be a recreation of the Titanic sinking. That's pressure, but not so in literal sense of things like the geysers that she tries to block up and they eventually shoot upwards. That's pressure releasing. So yeah, there's a lot of examples of pressure in surface pressure, which is obvious. Um, the next thing I wrote was that is not a little wind. Or sorry, that is not a light wind. So there's a line in surface pressure where Luisa says a light wind blows. And that is definitely not a light wind, that is a tornado. Which I actually like that imagery, because it's like she says it's a light wind blows, but it's actually a very strong wind. Something that, to me, what that looked like, and I may be overanalyzing this at this point, but it seems like you look at someone on the outside and you think, oh, that's a small problem. That's a light wind. But on the inside, to this person and in their personal life, there could actually be a tornado. Not a light wind, but a large, intense wind that has a large effect on them and scatters their life into pieces, just like these makeshift dominoes as doors are scattered all over. Okay, and donkeys are hilarious, was my next note. They are. Um, I back up a bit for this next note and say my initial thought when Mirabelle finds Antonio was that she was talking to herself. So what I mean by that, the first time I watched this movie, the scene just before Antonio's gift ceremony, where Mirabelle is going to give him his gift, before she pulls the gift out, or like before she gives him the gift, she's like, "Everyone's looking for you." And in my mind, the first time I watched this, I was like, is she talking to herself? I was slightly confused. I don't know why I didn't pick up on it, but yeah, that was just my initial thought. Okay, my next note was, why can't the house or the casita? Is that how you say it? I'm not sure. Help in Bruno's room. So I get that. I get. I get the whole thing with the movie trying to convince you that Bruno's evil until we actually meet Bruno. Um, but also dropping subtle hints that he's not actually evil, that he's just a normal guy, especially in the song We Don't Talk About Bruno. But my question is, even if Bruno left his room and the light on is dimmed and he stopped using his gift, why can't the casita help in his room? Like, it can't come in there, which is made very clear. Can it just not help in these, like, what seem to be like pocket dimension rooms? Like that's very confusing. I was just a little bit confused there. Because if it's separated from the house, sure, but it only makes sense if all of the rooms in the house are not affected by the living casita. Or, yeah. My next note was, oh, the stairs. I'm just saying, Bruno's room would be the absolute worst place to live. I hate going up and down stairs. Like a lot of stairs. Like I don't mind the stairs in my house. I have lots of stairs in my house, but like a ton of stairs, I don't really like to do that. And that would be the worst. Like, where do you sleep? If you sleep up by your vision cave, I am so sorry, because that is the worst room ever. Um, My next note was, Mirabelle is actually impressive with parkour sometimes. Like, she is actually quite brave. I would not have taken that rope and gone across that gigantic chasm, or tried to leap across the other chasm, what they thought was a chasm, when she finds Bruno later on. But she actually has decently impressive skills there. So, good for her. My next note was that green seems to represent good in this movie. So in a lot of past movies and just past things in general, green has often represented evil or misfortune and things like that. And green being my favorite color, besides maybe black. I like that it represents good in this movie. The rims of Mirabelle's glasses are green. Bruno wears green. There's a lot of green in the We Don't Talk About Bruno song, and it may seem like they're doing that to convey evil, but they're actually doing it to convey good, it seems like, because green seems to represent good in this movie. My next note was, my theory that the cracks are from discourse in a family kind of falls apart with the Bruno Tower scene. I will get into that theory at the end of this video. The next note I had was, isn't a drizzle more than a sprinkle? Like, I'm not sure about this one, so I'm going to look it up right now. Is a drizzle more than a sprinkle? Okay. Is a drizzle more than a sprinkle? Yeah. Something akin to drizzles, just a few drops here and there. Huh, so it seems to be like a similar thing, but I always thought that drizzle was more than a sprinkle. Like, a sprinkle is like just a few drops of rain, and then drizzle is like light rain. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I was just referring to the scene right before We Don't Talk About Bruno with Peppa. Peppa. I don't know. Yeah. My next note was, why is Luisa's gift the only to fade before the house collapses? So all of the gifts seem to be working just fine until the house collapses, except for Luisa's. So why is hers the only gift to malfunction? It just doesn't seem to make sense. My next note is, why can't the house help in the walls either? So clearly, the casita is the walls are part of the house. So why can't it help in the walls? Because it seems to not be able to. It's just strange to me. Okay, my next note was, do the cracks get patched? It looks like they just went away. So in the scene where Mirabelle finds Bruno in the walls, it is shown that he's been patching the cracks, but in other scenes we've seen the cracks like just fade away after a little bit of time, after something good happens, after she reconnects with her family more. The cracks just fade. So it's a little confusing. My next note is, I love Bruno. Yes, okay. Next note. Yeah, I've already gone over this, but how does Bruno get the food? Do the rats get it? Yeah, my next note was, this one is relating to the whole, Mirabelle being partially in shadows throughout a lot of the movie. She becomes more in the light when with Bruno, but still partially shadowed. So it seems like throughout the movie, as Mirabelle is getting closer to fixing the miracle, she becomes less shadowed, more in the light. And when she's with Bruno, who's a fellow outcast, she seems to brighten up a bit. So I like that. Okay. In the scene where
Abuela.
and Mirabelle blow up at each other, they are all in the dark. So everybody is in the dark in the scene. Abuela, or however you say it, seems like she has more of a shadow cast over her face as we see her go more kind of on the evil side than we have in the past. And then Isabella and Luisa are also like this, as well as Mirabelle. So they're all in the shadows in the scene. My next note is the amount of times I have cried at this song. So that's referring to, again, I'm so sorry if I butcher this, but Dos Oruguitas, or something like that. I've cried at that song several times. I didn't cry this time. Well, I think I might have shed like 2 tears or so. I've seen it enough that I cry just a little bit less, but I still cry just a little bit. Because it's sad. Um, my next note was about the flashback scenes during, again, I'm so sorry, Dos Oruguitas. Is the bald guy on the church the son of this priest? So, earlier in the movie, on several occasions, especially during We Don't Talk About Bruno, and during the scene right before Surface Pressure, where Luisa moves to church, there's one guy who loses his hair. He talks about how he lost his hair after a prophecy from Bruno during We Don't Talk About Bruno. And he looks a lot, maybe it's just the angle, but he kind of looks a lot like the priest that married Pedro
Abuela.
and so I don't know, is that like his son or something, or are they the same person? Because so that guy aged very well. And also apparently got his hair back for a little bit. But it's probably not the same person. I don't know. I'm just jumping to conclusions, apparently. Alright, then I have 2 more notes. First of was, both of their faces are left with less shadow when
Abuela.
and Mirabelle hug. So after Mirabelle and her, I'll just say her grandmother, kind of make up, they hug, and they go back, especially during the song All of You. Mirabelle's face lights up a lot. Like there's a lot less shadow on her face. And I've kind of noticed the shadows on her face before, and I was really trying to look to see if it did change, and it did by the end of the movie. And the last one is that third child is very smart and could possibly be a thief in the future. So what I'm referring to here, that's not exactly what I said, but I'm not sure if the word I wrote would really... Swindler? I'm not sure if that's really the correct term for that. But I'm almost out of time, so I'm going to try and hurry through these last couple thoughts. I have about 3 thoughts left, so yeah. So, right before all of you, the 3 children are, they see that Mirabelle is back, and 2 of them begin arguing and seem indecisive, and then a third child takes that opportunity while the other 2 are arguing to be the one to get the glory to tell everyone that Mirabelle is back. And I'm just like, this is an interesting child who just took advantage of this opportunity where these other 2 children were arguing to take the glory for herself. And I'm mildly impressed, actually, but also very worried about that child at the same time. Okay, quickly gonna go over my theory about the cracks. I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, or if anyone else has had this theory. I'm sure someone else probably has. But it seems like the cracks appear when there is division in the family, especially between Mirabelle and someone else. So, times when cracks have appeared that we see, first of all, at Antonio's party, right after Waiting on a Miracle, which is one of my favorite songs in the movie, actually. I know that one might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but it is. Maybe not my favorite in the movie, but it's way up there. Probably on the same level as Surface Pressure for me. Sorry, I forgot to mute myself again. Dang it. Okay. Yeah, so that's the first time. She had just been left out of a family photo. She was feeling down. She was feeling separated from her family, and the first of the cracks appeared. The next time that they appear, I believe, is when she goes into Bruno's tower, and this is the part that I feel like it fell apart just a little bit, because she didn't really seem to be in a fight with her family members, though there is, I guess, Abuela's a little annoyed at her at that point in time, but other than that, it doesn't super make sense. Maybe it's her discovering that she's the one in the prophecy that causes the cracks, but it seemed like the cracks started before that, so that might make my entire theory fall apart. But still. After that is right after We Don't Talk About Bruno, during the proposal scene, where tension is at an all-time high when the rest of the family finds out about Bruno's last vision. Yeah, so discourse there. And then the other time, the final time that there are cracks, is when the entire house falls apart. Mirabelle just got into a huge argument with Abuela, and there's a literal crack that severs like between them. And the cracks start to disappear when, first of all, she hugs and begins to better understand her sister, Isabella, and when she hugs and begins to better understand Abuela. And when the whole town comes together to rebuild the house, and they allow one of the most outcast members of the family, Mirabelle, to restore the doorknob, the house is restored. So that's just my thoughts. But anyways, that's all of my notes. I love this movie. I think it's really great. And later on, I will be making a video. This will be the next Keeper of the Movies video, where I'll be ranking all of the Encanto songs. I am letting it go on this channel, partially because I don't have a song channel and wouldn't have enough content to put on the song channel. Because though I do like music, there's not enough stuff that I would really be able to put up there that people would enjoy in any capacity. So, since this is music from a movie. I'm going to count it, and I am going to rank it. So I'm going to rank all of the Encanto songs next time. So anyways, that is all the time that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you like the idea of having a video game in the background. Looks like the Switch has charged probably enough to be able to go up. But yeah, that is all for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.